Uh, Marketing, these are the guys who kind of design the campaign for the festival every year. So every year you go from, you know, when the world was saying that they were the biggest festival, and when the world was saying that, you know, they had the most international bands or the big headliners, you know, marketing knows that we don't have the money, but let's take another position. So our position was the happiest music festival, and that kind of worked for us a lot. Um, Another year we kind of said only 9,000 people. That was another marketing sort of plan that worked for us because it set in an urgency that, I mean, we could have sold a lot more tickets, but we took that stand and we said there are only going to be 9,000 people. On a year following, what we had sold about 12,000 people tickets. So it set an urgency. So marketing decides the strategy on how we're going to position the festival and push it out. Editorial is the soul. It's where we have an arm called NH7, which is the blog. Um, this is where articles are written. This is where the festival kind of gets a voice. This is where the festival gets a personality, and that's where it stands out from the others. So there'll be a lot of events that happen, but if you have a limited budget and you want to go to something, you have to connect with it. So editorial kind of plays that role of the soul of the event. Sponsorship sales in India, it's very important. Our tickets are priced at maybe a fifth of what an international festival would typically price tickets. We are price sensitive, so a lot of reliance is still there on sponsorship, which is also challenging because you want your sponsor to be involved, yet you don't want his agenda to override your rollout. So sponsorship sales is very important. The festival runs on volunteers, and after this I'm even going to, you know, send out a message and you guys can register if you guys want to be part of it. uh, so we have about 200 volunteers working on every festival, and we do 4 of them. So my volunteer team actually deals with about 600 people every year that he won't deal with after 2 years. So there's a vast moving number of people that come in, that should be fed, that should be, you know, that should know their roles, they should be, you know, dropped home safe. So the festivals run on a grease that is the volunteers, and we hope that they take away from the festival enough to kind of justify their work. So we try to make it as exciting. We change people around. We give them, you know, time off schedules so that they get time to watch the bands as well as work. So that's the volunteering team. There is a security team, which I'll come to later. But basically, they're the guys who, you know, I mean, who frisk people from coming in. But at weekend a week, we actually use security really like intelligently. And because we're taking the position of the happiest music festival, we had these big burly bouncers, but we kind of we paid them some more money, and we spent about an hour and a half with them to get them to promise us that they would smile and say hello and be happy with everybody who's coming in. So while they were frisking, we asked them to tell jokes and like be, and it was just a slight nuance like that made it very exciting for us, and that kind of took across our message of the campaign. Uh, Festival goers, they come there. It happens over a period of 2 days, so they need to be fed. So one way is we provide the food, the other, which is a very hard, or we invite a lot of cuisines to come in, a lot of local indie businesses to come in, and they kind of sell their food at the festival. Now this has become such an important part of our festival because it's like a mini food festival. Everybody looks forward to what is going to be featured at NH7. We have a waiting list now of, at least 100 people who want to, serve food at the festival because that's a platform for them. Indie brands also, come and sell, their wares and stuff on that. Again, that's a curated process, and that's something that another team does. Merchandise, it kind of works 2 ways. We have we have T-shirts that talk about the festival. I mean, the current one was Weekend a State of Mind, and that kind of works for me in two ways. It works to kind of reinforce advertising and people wear it around, uh, and as well as I get money for it. So merchandise is a very important part of the festival, and of course festivals are so expensive. We have to look at every little bit that we can make money from and like kind of carve that out. It's a very important sort of part. Housekeeping. We have the cleanest toilets in the country at a festival, and we take a lot of pride. That's my first opening slide when I go and sell it. So we spend a much a disproportionate amount towards making sure that our toilets are clean. It's very important for our festival, because if the toilets are clean, I think the women folk are happy, and if the women folk are happy, the whole vibe of the festival are up. So that's our. So I mean, you have. So increasingly, we have more women folk coming to our festival. Key relationships. I'm just going to leave that at, there are important people in important cities that require different handling. So the politics of it, certain permissions. Well, licenses and permissions is also another team of people. Uh, Technicals. This is, who runs the stages, the presentation equivalent. So you have your AV team. You have programming is they decide on what's current, what's relevant, who can come for very little money. you know so they decide on how we're going to program 60 artists, what are people excited about, which bands will they get introduced to, which bands will draw them to buy a ticket. So there are two things that the programming guy puts together. There's a festival office, decor, like you saw in the video. There's a different team that does decor, kind of works on branded decor as well as unbranded decor. Uh, Production, this is hardcore production. So if you need something on ground, if you need to make sure that the toilets are running fine, you talk to production so that that kind of works. Box office ticketing, that's that's a large 100-lane setup outside, because the challenge is that if somebody comes to the festival among 16 or 18,000 people, he needs to get in 5 minutes. Otherwise, he's going to be really upset. So what we did actually as a company, as a first, we have 100 lanes. So there's 100 separate lanes, and those are divided so that people can move in quickly. So that's very important, because if you're coming there for, and that kind of works for, I mean, there are about, to run 100 lanes, it's about 200 people just running ticketing. So that's, I'm just giving you like a kind of sense of what goes into a festival. So like I mentioned already, that that the festival director marks the plot, oversees the teams, checks the feasibility, and starts the rollout. Marketing builds the buzz, announces the dates. The date announcement is a very key part of the rollout. So there's a lot that goes on. I'm probably going to leave this stuff for you, but these are the various facets of event management. So when you look at the video team, they're doing something like they're deciding how they're going to shoot the festival this year. They're deciding what they already have shot that could become promos for this year. So there's various things that are going out. My sales team is taking a brief. The brief was something like funky four wheels for Tata Nano last year, and we had to go to them with a solution, and that's and the team then came up with something which kind of looked at an installation which was live painted, as well as there was some video mapping on it with an artist. So that team typically goes out there, makes sure that the money's coming in on different facets. So there's a bunch of things, and I'm happy to even speak to you about details later. Again, distribution, online, offline, tracking. Tickets are available in small indie shops all over the country. You've given them tickets, you need to collect money. that tracking team is something that they will do for 4 months in a year. That's all that they do. They maintain that relationship, track the money coming back when people buy tickets. Uh, F&B is a huge challenge as well, because you have to, when you have a festival, it's 2 weeks of a crew that goes down to start building it. They need to be fed. So there's like labor food, crew food, artist food, intern food, people food. So F&B is oh, and then there's the bars, because you know, I mean, you have to run the bars at the festival. So there's a whole bunch of people running food. So event management means food management at some level, means video management at some level. So, you know, I mean, what I'm here to do is I'm trying to give you an insight about the different facets that will come when you guys get into, if you guys decide to get into festival management. Uh, you know, I mean, if somebody is coming down to the festival, uh, they'll be coming there, and and they have to come in a particular way. They can't have open flames. They have certain rules. Their food has to be fresh. It needs to be refrigerated overnight. So there's a team that's kind of dealing with how that food comes in, how it's sold, how, you know, how the money is shared at the end of the day, because we have a revenue share on the food that's sold at the festival. Uh, yeah, so that's a lot of people working on the festival that becomes that video, you know. Again, like I said, there is this is it's we're now in 4 cities, so there's a little bit of a kind of circus kind of movement. So you set up in Pune, you do the festival, and then the next week you're going to move to Delhi. So you have to wrap this whole big thing and move it. So there's a team of about 25 people just making sure logistics are in place to move the whole festival site from Pune to Delhi. And you know, it goes in trains, there's the trucks that go up, there's a whole bunch of things that happen. And yeah, so I hope I'm kind of getting across. I know it's kind of boring, but that's kind of the idea, that there's a bunch of things that goes on. And yeah, now I'm going to take questions. Yeah. Anybody wants to know anything about the festival business, or about what opportunities lie at, how much time do you have?
Uh, if there are no questions, I'll be happy.
Sure.
Sorry.
Last few questions.
But if there are any questions,
Yeah.
now's your chance.
If a person actually needs to start, be one of these students, what kind of a role would they be instrumental in actually playing? What is the kind of, where would you hire them? What is the kind of skill level that you'd be looking out for?
So typically, we have a program called the Loudest Crew. There are two arms of the Loudest Crew that our company runs. Uh, the Loudest Crew would be somebody who dedicates you know, a few hours every week towards, you know, the projects that we're working on. So if we're working on NH7 Weekender and we need posters to be put up around the Kalina area, and there's a Loudest Crew team member in this college, he'll be in touch with our marketing team, and he'll probably have to come up with ideas, colleges, hangouts, go speak to them and put up those posters. So I'm just starting from there. Loudest Crew is, they're on board for the whole year, and they kind of work with us. They dedicate a few hours every year. Then on the day at the festival, we have another volunteering program, which basically is NH7 Weekender volunteers. They typically come in and they will do everything from bringing water to the stages from the food area, managing food and water to the artists, to the crew, to selling merchandise on ground, to working the box office. You know, so there's those jobs are allocated on site itself. What happens is that we also take you know, take feedback, and if people have done one kind of job and they're kind of leaning towards another and they want to do it, you know, they kind of can put in some suggestions and get involved with other crews. this is different from joining the festival crew and coming on board. This is the volunteering program which then, so what we will then do is, then if we do have new hires and if somebody's been in the volunteering crew, he will then next manage the whole volunteering crew and then come in on that. We have video teams that kind of require volunteers that will work with the video teams itself, so that's a bunch of things that volunteers can get involved with.
What are the skills you look forward to in a person?
So basically, as an event manager, I'm not really, I'm looking for somebody who's really up for it. Like, boss, aaj you have no idea what you're going to get into, but we have to move this whole thing to Delhi. Are you up for it? It may be 13-hour days, but I mean, not that we actually have to work that much, but I look for somebody who's like really enthusiastic, energetic, I mean, somebody who's willing to do the job on the moment and not overthink it, but be intelligent and have like common sense. Common sense is something that I really look forward to. The technical things, there's a lot of I mean, the festival director, like I mentioned, he's the most important person. He decides feasibility. He started off as a volunteer in Pune in 2010. So there's no blueprint that you have to have, X amount of expertise. But say you're working with artists, then there's a certain level of common sense to understand and communicate what the artist needs and make sure that, that kind of is told to the right teams and understanding the organization.